Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard and welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with modern science. And today I want to talk about nicotine, a trendy substance that lots of folks are taking for enhancing pleasure, motivation, mood, cognitive function, and even protection for age-related cognitive decline, which is a concern for all of us, really. And since the smoking nicotine days are hopefully over for most folks, with a clear understanding that that combination of nicotine and smoke is detrimental to our health, lots of folks are saying just the nicotine alone in a microdose can actually be effective. People are actually using it as kind of nasal inhalants, as injections, some people do, pouches underneath between your cheek and gum to create sublingual absorption. And of course, there's vaping, which has its own set of issues because you're, again, inhaling other substances in the smoke, which is really a bad idea and a topic for another discussion. But I want to just talk about the pros and the cons of nicotine and what's the Ayurvedic take on stimulants and even sedatives. So when we look at nicotine, nicotine is not dissimilar as a stimulant than cocaine. They both boost dopamine, although cocaine does a little bit more than just dopamine. They both can cause addiction. They both give you a short-term burst of focus and memory and pleasure, although the burst from nicotine is much more mild and from cocaine extreme. The body will build a tolerance to both of them, meaning that if you want that same feeling, you got to take more and more. And I hear all the time and read articles all the time about folks starting with a very low dose of nicotine and then they build themselves up. This is exactly what you kind of don't want to do, is get your body to build a tolerance, so it needs more of a stimulant to get the same effect. Cocaine does the same thing in a major, much more aggressive way, therefore much dangerous. And when you quit both of them, they both leave you with withdrawals, which is a problem. That's why people have a hard time quitting smoking, because nicotine is so addictive. So do we really want to be putting another addictive chemical into our system to help the body do the job for us? Now, there's good studies that show that nicotine can definitely increase your memory, increase your focus. Some studies show that it can even protect you against age-related decline. So there are some studies showing the benefit, but there's also plenty of studies showing the detriment. And the detriment includes things like I said, the addiction, the increased focus for the short term. But studies actually are now starting to show that even though you get this boost of focus and memory and motivation and pleasure in the beginning, the long-term effect is increased anxiety, increased depression, even panic attacks, and actually an increased amount of cognitive decline. So that quick fix that we think we're getting, yes, in some studies it shows it can protect you against age-related cognitive decline, but other studies show it can actually do the opposite. So here again, we can't really trust the science, because science can tell you whatever it wants. It can tell you coffee's good, coffee's bad, right? It can tell you wheat's good, wheat's bad. I have 600 scientific references in my Eat Wheat book telling you that wheat's good. But it doesn't mean it's only good. There are issues with it, and most of those issues are linked to a broken down digestive system that doesn't let us digest a lot of harder to digest things. So the other things is nicotine has been shown to increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, a lot of that is linked to the smoking component of nicotine because they went together for so many decades. But it's definitely still a concern, and it hasn't been really vetted out that it's completely free of cardiovascular risk. So there are some issues. But from the Ayurvedic perspective, we don't really use stimulants, nor do we use sedatives. And if we do use them, we use them as a medicine to get on, get better, get off. That's the idea. So you use a stimulant to give your body the energy it needs, hopefully to kind of get your body out of a crisis. Use a sedative to help you sleep, get you out of a crisis. But then while you're fixing the underlying cause, so you don't become dependent on that pill or the powder or that stimulant, and you don't end to build a tolerance where now your receptors are so overused for those receptors, those dopamine receptors, they actually become exhausted. And over time, they become even non-functional for us. So this is why stimulants are used with real caution and a warning in Ayurvedic medicine. Better to figure out, why do you feel the need for a stimulant? Why do you feel the need for more focus and memory and motivation? Why is all that gone? And that's because most of us, in general, are exhausted. And when you're exhausted, your brain pulls down the menu and says, how do I get to feel that feeling of good again? And that's what we do. We find a way to get up there. But it could be shopping, it could be going to the movies, it could be having coffee, it could be having a stimulant. Your brain knows how to get back on top of that mountain. And that's what it's going to do on a regular basis. But what goes up must come down. And as it comes down, it usually goes a little further in more depletion, and then you need a bigger stimulant, a deeper dive, a bigger stimulant, and now you're on the roller coaster ride, possibly brewing an addiction. You know, people who drink coffee, do you wake up thinking about that cup of coffee? Do you come home from work thinking about that glass of wine as a sedative? Do you have nicotine in your life now, and do you wake up thinking about, I want to get that nicotine in pretty quick because I feel so much better? Whenever that happens, there's going to be consequences. And we know scientifically there is consequences. And even though the science can give you information on both sides of the aisle, that's what we do at LifeSpa. We go to the ancient wisdom and we say, what did they say about stimulants? And they said, use caution, use it in moderation. And as soon as you start thinking that I wake up thinking about that cup of coffee or that glass of wine or that whatever it is, then that substance has control over you. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we don't use stimulants, we don't use sedatives, but there are herbs that are well studied to boost memory and focus and mood. An herb like bacopa, which is a brain-derived neurotropic factor, literally builds brain cells, been shown in studies to support mood and memory. Powerful agent. Ashwagandha, a powerful herb for an adaptogen. Studies have been shown it can increase cortisol levels if it's low and decrease cortisol levels if they're high, cortisol being a stress hormone. It can actually give you the energy that you need to sleep at night, but at the same time give you the energy to run a marathon and take your exams during the day. So it's not a stimulant nor a sedative, it's deep, deep rejuvenation. That's the true adaptogen. Most adaptogens are just stimulants in disguise, and they give you energy you don't have, force your body to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and feel better in the short term. In the long run, you drive your body into deeper and deeper exhaustion. And that is where we don't want to end up, particularly as we get older. Another herb that I love called Brahmi, or we have one at LifeSpa called Brahmi Brain, which is Centella asiatica, which is an herb that's been shown for sleep. You can give you energy to go to sleep, for memory, for mood, for focus, and it's also a brain microcirculation lymphatic agent, so it can dump some of that lymphatic or glymphatic trash out of our head while we sleep. So I'm a big fan of using these agents for that memory. I take the bacopa every single day. I take ashwagandha. I take Brahmi oftentimes before I go to bed. So I use these herbs all the time, and I love using them in their whole form. Because what we did in the West is we took those plants and we extracted out one or two of the constituents, and we thought that was the main ingredient, effective ingredient in the entire plant. So sometimes you're taking one out of 300 constituents of the plant and using just that one. What you did when you did that is you made a drug, and there will be consequences when you take something that's not really how nature designed it, particularly when you extract it with alcohol, which all of them are, and they become sterile. So now when you're taking that plant, or even your food, if they're sprayed with pesticides or insecticides for that matter, they're sterile. And we're not sterile. We've figured that out since the microbiome project in 2004. We are anything but sterile. We have a microbiome on our skin, on our respiratory tract they thought was sterile. Our gut, huge microbiome. Bugs are everywhere. So when you eat a plant and you take out the microbiome of that plant, you lose the intelligence of that plant. Some of these bugs are called bacterial endophytes, which in studies have been shown to support the benefit, the longevity, the life and immunity of the plant. So the plant depends on its bugs, just like you and I depend on our bugs. And if we lose that microbial diversity, we pay a price. In fact, studies show that's an extinction event. It's a big deal. Our lack of microbial diversity compared to our ancient human ancestors. They had such a diverse microbiome. So that's why when you start hearing things like herbs are bad or this or bad, it's most likely because you're taking extracts that are sterile, that are super times potency. When you take the whole plant with its natural microbiome, you don't need that 100 times potency, sort of a westernized way of making things more potent. It works naturally with your body, supports your body's ability to do the job as opposed to doing the job for you, which oftentimes leads to consequences. So if you're looking for mood, for memory, for focus, for pleasure, let's fight the stress, right, with herbs that are naturally inclined to do that, like bacopa and brahmi and ashwagandha, but also recognize that the further that you stimulate your body with stimulants, that's a stress, right? When there's a bear chasing you, your body produces those same chemicals to get you up a tree to save your life. And that stress in our culture is chronic and insidious, and just kind of that underlying rev of stimulation just never goes away in our culture. And that means that the body is responding to life as an emergency. And when you're responding to life as an emergency, the body is going to put more sugar into the blood to get you up a tree, causing more diabetic related issues. It's going to take more cholesterol and shove that into the blood to make more stress fighting hormones to get you up the tree faster. It's going to raise your blood pressure to get you up a tree faster. Any reserve fuel that you have, it's going to take that fuel, stick it under the mattress for a rainy day and cause, visceral fat and visceral obesity, which we know is a major health concern, all part of what's called metabolic syndrome. And then when you look at studies that show that all the metabolic syndrome pieces, the epidemic of our time, are caused by stress. Then when you look at things like meditation, it's been shown to reverse the high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, extra weight around your belly, study after study after study. So a stimulant like nicotine is the opposite of a meditation. You're trying to tell your nervous system to still and become calm and relaxed and deeply rejuvenate and repair itself. Stimulation is way up here. Get up a tree, save your life. So you got to think, what's in your best interest? Do you really want to be up here all the time? Because what stays up doesn't stay up forever. It crashes. And that's when we really run into the problem of addiction and the side effects of nicotine. All right, guys, hope you like this. If you like this, please follow, like, subscribe. Also, if you're watching this at LifeSpa.com, where all of our articles, over 1,500, are there for free, and videos like this for free. Deep, longer videos. We take a deeper dive, deep, longer articles with all the scientific references that are there at LifeSpa.com. Go to LifeSpa, type up nicotine, get all the science behind what I'm talking about here today. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter. And of course, don't forget we have an Ayurvedic store where all of our LifeSpa Ayurvedic herbs are all there. And you can read the science there at the LifeSpa store as well. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Hi, everybody. I just want to take a minute and tell you what we do here at LifeSpa.com. I've been in practice now for 40 years, 38 of them have been practicing Ayurvedic medicine full-time. For the last 20 years, I've been writing articles and doing videos on the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with the modern science. If something's been around for 1,000 years, still practiced today, and you have modern science to prove it, boy, I really feel like that's something we should all be taking a look at. And that's what we do at LifeSpa.com, and all that information is for free. So just go to LifeSpa.com and search in your health topic, and you'll get the information, the article that you need, hopefully that will help you. While you're there, check out our Ayurvedic store. You can get there through LifeSpa.com or go to store.lifespa.com. And there we have all of our organic Ayurvedic herbs, organic skincare line, more books, tapes, knowledge that we give you is all there at our store. All of our cleansing kits are there in our store. All of our herbs are whole herbs with the natural occurring microbiome, the way it came out of the soil. And that's critically important, because if I took the bugs out of you, you'd be completely different. When you take the bugs away from a plant, like sterilizing, making an extract, or spraying your food with pesticides, you lose significant benefit of that plant. And that's why we use the whole plant with the natural occurring microbiome. So check us out, learn more about what we're doing here at LifeSpa.com, and we'll see you again.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.